friends, it's time to study for your test. Don't think of it as a test, it's really just a celebration of your knowledge. So this is what is going to be on it. You have a lot of vocab. Oh. And I'm not going to give you all the definitions. You can go back on your own and revisit those, but just a quick reminder, words like collinear, coplanar, all the words about quadrants, origin, let's see, the definition of an angle, the definition of a bisector, midpoint, what else? There are others, but whatever vocab has been scattered throughout your lessons and throughout your quizzes, all of that vocab will show up again on the test. And you're going to take a practice test, so don't worry about it. All right. The next thing that will be on your test, those postulates. So make sure you know about the segment, addition, postulate. And that's the one that says, if a segment is cut into two pieces, then you know that the length of AB plus the length of BC equals the length of AC. And similarly, the angle addition, Arnold's postulate. Because a large angle can be cut into two angles, this larger one and this smaller one. So if this is A, B, C, then you know that the measure of angle, this X, the measure of angle AXB plus the measure of angle BXC will equal the measure of angle AXC. That means that this green angle plus this blue angle equals this yellow angle. So know those postulates. All right, know your angle pairs. Okay, so you need to recognize when they look like that. They are called vertical. When they look like that, they are called a linear pair. When they look like that, they share a side. That's called adjacent. Oh, what else do we have? That's all I can think of right now. These two words are important. Complementary means they add up to 90. So obviously if the angle is 40, the complement would be 50. If the angle is 60, the complement would be 30. And supplementary, is when two angles add up to 180. So a way to remember that, C comes before S in the alphabet, and 90 comes before 180. So that's so you can remember which is which. Okay. Let's talk about this one. If they say QR is 5x is x, QS is 66. And they want to know what x is. Don't try to just think about what you should do. You want to draw this picture. So you know that you have something called Q and something called R. Because that means you have a segment, it means the length of the segment, but then you have RS. So draw this out on your paper while you're doing your test. Now you can see what's going on, plug in the information, and it makes so much more sense. QR is 5x, so this one is 5x. RS is x. And QS is 66, so the whole thing is 66. And now you should be able to set up the segment addition postulate. So you know that 5x plus x equals 66. Now you just do algebra. Combine like terms. And 66 divided by 6 is 11. So that's how you're going to do that one. All right, similarly, if they just talk about, maybe, I don't know, pick a letter, K. If K is a midpoint of maybe XY, okay? They could give you some information, so let's say they said XY is 14, oops. What would XK be? So again, don't try to figure out if it's 14 or 7 or 28, draw the picture. Draw whatever they just said. K is a midpoint of XY. So you literally put K in the middle of X and Y. And now you don't have to guess that you did the right thing. Do I cut it in half or do I double it? You could draw it out and you picture it. If XY is 14 and this is in the middle, that's how you know this is 7 and 7. All right, and then lastly, let's just do the distance and midpoint. All right, so for distance, there's 3 things that could happen. If they just give you a vertical line, if they just say, what's the distance between these 2 points, you can just count however many boxes are on the graph. Same thing with a horizontal line, because you can tell how many units just by counting. So don't do formulas for horizontal and vertical lines. You can just count the boxes really quickly and find the answer. You only have to do the distance formula when the line is slanted. Okay? Because those boxes aren't clear corners, they're like portions of it, so it's probably going to be a decimal. So let's say this is at 1010 and this is at 1418. I don't know. That's when you have to do the distance formula, which is x minus x, y minus y. And yes, there are little 2's and 1's on here, but it really doesn't matter, because when you subtract something but then square the quantity of that, you're still going to get the positive answer. So the order doesn't matter. So the x's are here in yellow. Front, front. 14 minus 10. The y's are the back numbers. Back number, back number. 10 minus 18. All right, and then you just either put that in your calculator, do it by hand, do it step at a time. But if you're using the Desmos calculator, don't hit the square root till the end. You want to just hit 14 minus 10 squared plus 10 minus 18 squared, and see what that is. Or if you're doing it by hand, isn't that 4 squared, which is 16, negative 8 squared, which is 64. 64 plus 16 is 60, 70, 80. Remember, the answer is not 80. The answer is the square root of 80. So then you put that in your calculator, convert it into a decimal. It's probably round to the nearest tenth, and then you choose that from there. So the distance of a vertical and horizontal line Distance of any slanted line is the tricky one. But your formula you can use for that. Right, last thing. Well, let's just use the same problem to do the midpoint. Whew. All right, so we're done with the distance. Now let's find the midpoint of this. Because same thing with the vertical and horizontal line. You can see what the middle is. You can see what the middle, oh, that's up. You can see what the middle is, but you can't tell exactly where the middle of that would be. So there's also that formula. This time you're adding the x's together. That should make sense because to find the middle of something, you add them up and divide by 2. X plus x divided by 2, y plus y, ooh, divided by 2. That's the formula. So it's just like the distance where the yellow ones, but now instead of subtracting, because think of distance is subtract, that makes sense, we're adding 10 and 14. 10 plus, oh my gosh, why does it keep doing that? 10 plus 14 divided by 2, and the green ones were 18 and 10. 10 plus 18 divided by 2. And adding numbers together, it really doesn't matter the order because addition is commutative. You learned that back in middle school. So our final answer. Our final answer is 24 divided by 2, 28 divided by 2. So that's 12. And 14, and test that out. If you have a little graph paper on your desk, if you graph the point 12, 14, wouldn't it be 2 jumps to the right of 10 and 4 jumps up, and it perfectly lands in the middle, and you can check your work by graphing. So don't have a crazy answer like 2172 that's clearly not in the middle. You know, you can check your work by looking at the visuals. So I hope you're studying for your test and do your practice test, and good luck.